Hi there. So we haven't done one of these in a while. And before we begin, I want to explain that I kind of changed the direction that I come at this from. Whereas before I was asking spirit guides, and our highest selves to bring through helpful messages, now I want to essentially ask them to give us information to reflect on. And the reason that I want to switch this up in this way is because I believe that it's really important for us each to be sovereign beings, trusting in ourselves. My granddaughter.
Hi.
Hi. Would you like to say hi? Come here.
Hi.
Say, I am having a hard time falling
Hi.
asleep from my nap, but did you understand?
Hi.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think you're going to do now? Okay, well, we're going to pause. See if she'll lay down again, and then I'll be back. So, I'll finish my thought when I return. I think I'm even going to keep this in. She's too cute, isn't she? Alright, her dad's going to take care of that. Yeah, 18 months old, and she just doesn't want to miss anything, so nap time is... It's like you can tell she's really overtired, but she doesn't really want to lay down. She doesn't really want to miss anything, so... Very cute. Cute when you get a break in the middle. Cute when there's team members helping to raise the baby, for sure. Because I remember as a single mother, it was pretty hard when my children refused to have naps. I had 3, so... Okay. So, being that I feel it's really important for us to be sovereign and to trust ourselves, and that we all have this ability to tap in to our guidance and to what information is appropriate for us and available to us at any given time. And so I kind of want to just assist in the process of honing that skill and that ability for others, and not set anything up that could possibly be a hindrance to that for anyone, or be something that someone could use as a codependent kind of crutch. Because I think that definitely at times in my past, I looked to readings as my kind of like, I need to feel better, so give me some good news kind of thing, you know? And as you know, if you've been doing my readings, that I don't usually focus that way. I'm usually someone who will go right down into the shadow and poke out something that hurts. And I understand that can be upsetting to someone. And that's another thing that I want to make sure what we're doing is respecting you and what part of you is ready to hear that. And that part of you is going to help you choose which pile, and also help you choose whether or not the information shared is relevant to you. See, the whole point is making sure that everything's back into your hands and your responsibility. Because really, that's what it comes down to. I can't know better for you than you. I can just give you some information to reflect on. And I enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing it very much. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And that's why I have changed it to call it reflection tools. Because this is a tool that we can use to reflect. Whereas what I was using readings as before in my life for a period of time was like a crutch, was like a fix, was like something that could give me a break from any kind of worries that I might have, you know? When actually those worries just needed my love and my attention and my presence, right? They needed me to reflect on them. Okay. So, we're coming into spring. It's getting exciting because I know that, you know, things are about to shift. I'm sure everybody kind of feels that, right? Things are shifting, things are changing. I know that I'm doing what I'm inspired to do, and I know that I'm on a path to somewhere, and I don't want to actually share what that is because I just don't feel that's appropriate at this time. But it feels really good to know that I'm in touch with what I want to do and what I came here to do, and it feels really nice to allow myself these things too, these fun things that I enjoy doing, and giving back and sharing what I enjoy doing. Okay, so I hope that you find some joy or pleasure in it too, even if it is something that ends up poking and pressing on your shadow. I know that the more we look into our shadow, the more that we're present with our unconsciousness, it becomes conscious. We shine a light on it and we become more free to be happy and to be whole. Okay? And so I'm here to promote that. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to sugarcoat anything that comes up in the card. It just means that it's on you what it means to you. And it's on you whether or not you're ready to use that piece of information. Okay? It's a timeless general reading, so you're only meant to take what resonates as truth for you. When it wasn't what resonates as a remembrance for you. And if you have any questions or comments, I welcome them in the comment section. If you want to book a personal session to reflect on something that's going on in your life personally, I encourage you to look at my website and choose one of the options there to meet with me one-on-one or to take one of the courses that I've prepared. Okay, so I will have put the slide of the choices up when you clicked on this video. So if you need to look at them again, you'll want to go back, click off the video, and look at the thumbnail for the video, and that's where your choices are. So we're going to get started with pick number 1, and that is the dance card. If you chose dance, this is your reading. So I dealt out most of the cards ahead of time, and then I'm going to take some from the astrology oracle to tell me a little bit about what's going on with you right now. So the first thing I did was I used the tarot to tell me what was the energy of your past. So where are you coming from? And for your pile, the general collective that chose dance is coming from a place where it seemed like there's just like an urge to do something, an urge to complete something, an urge to get some things done, and a lot of pressure, maybe coming from a lot of different angles, and maybe a lot of different things to do at once. And not necessarily unpleasant things, but maybe an amount of things that could have been overwhelming. And also, you're coming from a position of having to make a decision and feeling like you have no choice. Like maybe all these responsibilities were falling on you and it felt like that's all you could do. It was expected of you. Expectations from others, perhaps, and trying to fulfill what others' expectations are or have been of you. This put you in a position where you may have been feeling so much pressure that you were faced in a few different ways with decisions where you had to actually choose between sacrificing yourself and doing what was expected of you. And that may have come up a lot just to kind of put you in that position a lot so that you would deal with this kind of issue where priorities need to be clarified and things like that. I think you've been very hardworking, very productive, very busy, but just doing it to perhaps the detriment of yourself in some cases. Perhaps with the intention of trying to be perfect, like fulfill all the roles and do all the things just right. And perhaps like just, trying to fill the roles that you were expected of you, or that you had taken on yourself. You may have expected these of yourself as well. Okay? And so that's where you're coming from. Let's see where you are now. I have some more cards already laid out here about advices. So some of the cards, the word cards, besides dance, came up as clairsentience, lesson, doing, twin, and spider. And so what those words tell me is that perhaps there was like a lot of feelings you were getting about things, like you were getting hunches, feelings, like you felt a certain way about a certain thing that you were participating in. Maybe when you made the choice to do something that caused you to have to sacrifice yourself, you felt like in your gut that that wasn't right. Something like that, right? So your clairsentience was really trying to get your attention, and you were really getting a lot of information through your feelings that became present through this process of what you were doing, which is life. And you may have caught on to the fact, or you may be realizing now, that there was a lesson being presented to you because you could notice that you kept being brought into this position of feeling the same way. And it was through doing that you were feeling this. So the feeling I'm getting is that you were doing things that weren't inspired by you, that weren't directed by your highest self and your intuition and your feminine urge. You were just doing, like, from the masculine way of being productive and working hard, right? Then when we have twin, I feel like this is something that somebody did mirrored to you. Like perhaps this is how a parent operated, like, or a caregiver, or somebody you respected, somebody in authority. Maybe the other people at your job work in this manner, so you had to keep up pace with them. But I feel like there was something where you were trying, it was something, some expectations outside of you that were motivating you to do in this way. And spider, what spider tells me, when spider comes as my spirit totem, I know that it's asking me to look at the story that I'm telling. What is the story I'm weaving, right? So what am I telling myself about what I'm doing and about what's going on, right? Like if you are repeatedly faced with this situation where you have to sacrifice yourself in order to keep up with the expectations of others, what are you telling yourself when you do that? Are you saying, like, this is the right thing to do, this is just the way it's done, it has to be this way? And if that's not the truth, maybe that's why it's coming up again for you to reconsider it. And maybe if you're telling yourself, oh, I always lose out, I have such bad luck, this is too much, you know, I'm never going to win, it's too hard, things like that, you know, maybe that is a self-fulfilling prophecy as well. So there may be room to change the situation through changing what you tell yourself about the situation. Okay, where's pick one right now, Spirit? Okay. So I think that you have been feeling a lot of this urge. It's like something's telling you that this is not where and how you're supposed to be doing this. Something's telling you that you want to create something, you want to do something, something wants to come out from within. There's some sort of mystery going on where you don't have it all figured out, you just know that something feels different. It's a lot of feeling here emerging. If you're a person who's been very logical, then this might be foreign for you to start considering these feelings in making your decisions, but it's like the feelings aren't even going away, so they're not going to let you go back to the other way because there's this new way emerging for you. This has been a long process happening over like 6 months' time. And it's caused a lot of chaos, a lot of disruption. So you know that as you make these changes, the old ways are going to crumble around you. Certain things that were being held up on the premise of that your willingness to act in those ways that you were are going to fall. You know that. That's probably why you stayed in it so long, because it didn't look like it was okay to let some of those things go. But you couldn't see the biggest picture because you weren't allowing yourself to go towards that urge. Instead, you were staying with a sense of duty on the tasks at hand. there were things cut out from your view. You couldn't see the biggest picture view because you were busy. You were busy trying to, jump through the hoops and do what was expected of you. There was a lot of restriction put on you because of going this way. But your mind has been so busy, your thoughts, I feel like you are solution oriented in that you were looking for a solution the whole time. But maybe you just didn't realize that the solution is going to come from your inspiration. And that's going to be felt for you. You're going to feel your way into the solution. And this card, thus one journeys to the stars. You may benefit from looking at your astrology, right? But this is a 2 and an 8, so this is a 10, and we've got when pigs fly here. I like that. So this is really unexpected for you. You did not expect to be operating in this new way. And you are completing a cycle. The old cycle is over. It's ending. Yes, there may be a bit of chaos as it ends, but chaos is the space of creation. You got this card as some advice card, and I thought it was interesting that this lessons came up twice. And the advice is accept struggles as lessons. So whatever's going to happen here, it's meant to happen because you wanted to learn something from it as a soul. Okay. Then these advice cards, you got a few of them that came up, and it says pay attention to signs. And we talked about the spider being a spirit totem message, and I think one of the ways that you're getting signs is through animals, through spirit totems, and through your feelings, your clairsentience. Yeah, when feelings arise, it doesn't mean you have to act on them, but they are there to tell you something. You always have a choice. That is one of the advice cards here, right? You always have a choice. And I think you have been in a position in the past where you didn't feel like you had a choice. And maybe you've started to make choices for yourself that are different. Looking for solutions and pushing against restriction and stepping into the mystery and knowing that you don't know what could be on the other side. But it is reassuring you that you always have a choice. And so if that rings as true as I say it to you, then really adopt that for yourself and know that it isn't your responsibility to hold up expectations that you had agreed to after they've expired. Like after you've learned what you needed to learn, it may be time to renegotiate, Be bold and take charge. Yeah. I think that's Spirit's way of saying, like, this isn't going to happen for you. The reason why you're repeating the cycle of always being put in this position of having to sacrifice yourself is because you are being given a opportunity to take charge. It's up to you to get out of the cycle. The cycle is there to teach you. When you've learned from the cycle, you step out, but that's on you. Immerse yourself in artistic and creative expression, right? And there it is. You chose dance. And dance is a wonderful way of creatively expressing. And it doesn't have to be through dance. The top of the card says imagination. So it's whatever new fantastic thing or old thing, you can afford to be confident. You can afford to be free. And you can afford to take the signs as guidance, when you feel that that's true for you. But feelings is kind of important in this. By not paying attention to your feelings, to what you feel, and which may have been taught to you at an earlier age, you may have been mirrored that as the way to operate at an earlier time in life. But now you're being invited to step out of that, which really probably feels like a huge risk, but it's just time. The stars are aligning, and it's going to get more and more uncomfortable to be in the position that you're in. You'll notice it. You'll notice it all by yourself, but you can get out of that discomfort when you so choose. And when you step into this artistic, creative expression, That's the feminine energy. That's the chaos energy. That's the receptive energy. And that is going to allow you to hear and feel your way through in a more guided manner, where you're being inspired by you. You're being inspired by you. You are not having to fit into the boxes of what everybody else expected, which I understand will cause some things to fall away, will cause a struggle in some cases, and some people may not like it. But those are all the things that your soul chose to navigate through during this time of transition. The things that have been restricting you, they are ready to go. You're ready to step out. That's what this message is all about. Don't be afraid of chaos. Embrace it. Create it. Create it. Wow. Well, pick one. That was exciting and interesting. And those were some pieces of information to reflect on, right? Only take what resonates as true for you, or what makes you think deeper or want to know more, and maybe get your own cards out and ask deeper questions about these things, or just sit in stillness or in nature to get more information about anything that, left you with questions. Okay? Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed that very much. And I will look forward to greeting you in another reading. Okay, I'm going to move on. Moving on to pick number 2. And I'm just going to take a drink of water here. I just realized it might look like I'm in my bathroom because of the shower curtain type deal behind me, but it's just because I have house guests. I've put myself in my closet. It's just a spare room that I use as a closet. Okay. Pick number 2. If you chose the Hermit card, this is your reading. If you skip the intro, you may not know that my granddaughter is here, and it's nap time. She's having a hard time giving in to nap time, so that's what you may hear in the background if you hear a little baby crying. Her dad is with her, and she will be fine. Okay. So, where are you coming from? Pick number 2. Okay, things have been rough. You may be in this hermit mode because you've had a lot of endings. Things have been falling apart, things have been ending, some big changes for you. It may have had you in worry and fear, depression, nightmares, not feeling like celebrating and being around people, and just really looking a lot at the loss, so you got the 3 of Cups in reverse, so that would have been celebrating. But now we're not celebrating, and we are 4 of Cups, dwelling on the loss of all this and not noticing we have this still. Okay? That's okay. It's a normal human way to respond to loss. You've had loss. It may have been an actual death. It may have been the death of a part of your ego. It may have been an ending that was just really difficult, that it was a no-win situation. You may have been trying to avoid it for a long time, and then it just ended, or you finally did end it after a long time of avoiding ending it. But it's still sad. You were trying to avoid a no-win situation, really, what it felt like. But these cards do indicate that you do have something here. See this rainbow coming out of this cup. She's over here looking on over the losses. Grieving is an important process, so you've just been in In the past, you were in the process of grieving something that ended. So let's see where you are now. Look at these cards too. Learning to trust yourself. Longing for a friend, longing for a soul family or soul friend. Adapting to the changes. Okay, wow. Cool. Alright, I'm going to pick some more and then I'll talk to you about these cards. I just love when the readings come together like this, synchronistically. Okay. You're in some sort of confusion at this time. You know you don't know everything. Like, what you might be questioning, why are you on Earth? You want to trust the process. You want to know that you want to trust that you're here for a reason. But you're seeing through the lens of grief at the moment. There's something you know you want to complete, but knowing that you want to complete it doesn't mean that you can. It means, like, you've acknowledged that that's where you're going, but there are still steps to take to get there. So I think you're maybe learning to be present with the challenges that arise in the moment or what's in front of you as the next step to take. Yeah, you're getting more comfortable with the unknown. You're getting more comfortable with being here on Earth. This has been happening over a year's time. This is definitely something your soul wanted to experience, but also you do feel the heaviness of it, right? Like, you're maybe having to be present with heaviness, present with restriction, present with responsibility, present with melancholia. There are a lot of responsibilities on you still. And maybe you feel restricted. Okay. So maybe, yeah, longing for a friend. Like, you're just getting a taste of an aspect of life that you maybe had sampled before, but you're looking into it much deeper at this point. You're shining light on something, maybe an aspect of life that has been more heavy, that has been more unpleasant, which is the fact that we sometimes have to end things, that cycles are not meant to stay with us forever. At times we have to let go of things, and it can be scary to step into this unknown place where we don't know and we don't yet trust ourselves. So I think you're earning your own trust by handling what you're handling right now. You're earning your own trust. You got this has an advice card where we got to be enlightened, lighten up. See, he's got this banana peel, rainbows, more rainbows here. And light was one of the word cards that we got. So they are indicating that this grief is a step-by-step process. So you can look at maybe some helpful tools to go through grief, and so you can help yourself through it, so that you don't draw it out longer than it has to be, and that you can step towards lightening up. Because the other advice cards that you got are Fox, adaptability, adapt to the changes that are happening. So they're inviting you to adapt. They're saying, yes, this is difficult. Yes, this is sad. Yes, this is grief, anxious, fear, are all coming up for you now, and you're being with them so that you can adapt, so that you can move through, so that you can earn your own trust, knowing that you have your back when you have to traverse something like this. Even something like this you can handle. And then you are here for a reason. So what you're going through, as difficult as it is going to serve you in a way that you don't yet see. This to be enlightened, lighten up, that 29 adds up to an 11. That's the number of the visionary. So I think that you're here to do something on earth, right? And knowing how to traverse these type things that you're traversing right now is part of what you'll need to know to complete what you're doing on earth. Now you have, we've got friend, soul, and longing, right? So you may really feel too isolated and too alone. And that is for a purpose, right? You do need that space and time to go through the difficult thing you're going through. But as you adapt, you'll be able to return to life in a way where you'll attract and line up with people who also trust themselves, who have also traversed those type things, who are not victims to the process, but who can also hold their own in difficult situations and process through anxiety and fear. And this is the end of codependency. That's what I feel like. I don't even know where this is coming from. I guess I'm channeling, but yeah, you're ending a cycle where there may have been some codependency, and you're taking back all your power to take the responsibility back upon yourself, to trust yourself, to be able to give yourself what you need. So if you look at this like this is your time to reparent yourself through a difficult situation, what, if you were a child, what would you have needed from your parent going through this that you're going through right now? And how can you give that to yourself now? Okay, so that might be something helpful to consider in this situation. And I have every confidence that you will make it through this difficult situation that you are going through. So remember that in order to help yourself pass through, or to be present with each thing that arises, we acknowledge it. Like, if it's there, if it's a feeling, if it's present, acknowledge its presence. Validate why is it present. That story that you're telling yourself about it holds the key to your understanding about it, about why it's there, about what it means to you. Accept that it's there. We don't want to push it away, suppress, deny it, or try to avoid it. We want to let it be with us. We want to let it be present. And love the part of ourselves that's experiencing it. Because there's still love to be had in this situation, even though you have suffered a great loss. Okay? So it's important to give that to yourself, because that is how you earn your trust back, anywhere that it may have been lost. Okay? All right. Wow, exciting, a bit of freedom. Now remember, this is a reading meant to help you reflect. So anything that doesn't feel like truth for you, don't take it. Anything that doesn't feel like you're ready to hear that, then that's not meant for you. This is meant to offer you information to reflect on, information that would be helpful to reflect on given your situation. And I think one of the important things to remember from this is you are here for a reason. So there is a reason, there is something useful that will come out of this very difficult experience, and it might be helpful to remind yourself of that. Okay? Okay, I hope you find this helpful. And I'm going to end your reading there and move on to pick number 3. Pick number 3, if you chose the Urge card, this is your reading. Okay. I'm actually just going to pause for a moment, take a drink of water, and I'll be right with you. Okay, pick number 3. Got some vitality back in me here. Pick number 2 had been through a difficult time, and I think I just really felt that. Let's see. First, I'm going to look at where have you been. Oh, pick 3. You have been trying really hard for something that hasn't quite come through for you. You might have lost your passion for something that you were really focused on, that you felt was right for you. So interesting. Judgment in reverse and justice upright. Okay. This is going to be something for you to reflect on, okay? If this is not true, don't take it. Because this might sound a little bit harsh as I say this, but it feels like, or the impression that I'm getting is that you tried to build something on a premise that wasn't the win-win-win. So when we are building for our future at this point, in this kind of energy on this time in Earth, the only things that are really going to withstand the energy that's predominantly here at this time is something that is with consideration for me, you, and everyone. Everyone has to win in whatever's built from here on out before it to sustain. Okay? Things that are not built on truth and fairness and right and what's right, where somebody is being taken from, or if there's no justice or fairness in the situation, then it's not going to sustain. So if you put a lot of effort into something and it wouldn't build, or if you did build something and it crumbled, you may want to think about being actually thankful for the fact that you didn't get much further, that you've been given some information that you can now implement into the equation to follow through with those things in mind, which is that the win-win-win must be considered. Alright, so that's where you were. Let's see what else. Okay, so this may have been a rude awakening. Now, because you were probably following all the rules, you know, you were doing the right things, you were maybe even took marketing classes and knew that what you were doing was an effective method for doing it, and I think that it's like, if this didn't work, then it might feel like stuck. Like, what are you going to do with all this energy you have? Because I do think that you have a lot of energy, and you have the drive and the go. Okay. Oh, this is so interesting. So interesting. Okay. Yeah, this is what this reading is that this is a wake-up call for you. This is like, this is the universe, your soul, your own soul set you up on this, right? Because it knew that you were so driven and so wanting to do this thing that it would get your attention and stop you in your tracks and drop a veil that had been clouding your view or guiding you up to this point. You know, we don't want to say that it wasn't useful for you to learn everything you learned and do everything you did up to this point, because it was useful. It wasn't wrong. It was just that now you know what you know, and you can use it towards your goal from the angle that will be more helpful. Let's see where you are now. I mean, yeah, this reading is making me feel like more charged up. Like, you have a lot of go. You go. You'll do it. I know you'll do what you came here to do. And I think you might be following your urge. You chose urge. Urge is that inner kind of drive to do something. Wow. We got one of the words that came out was family, and we got soul family for what's going on with you right now. In case you skipped the intro, that background noise is just my granddaughter. It's nap time, and she's a little bit resistant, but her dad's out there with her. They're visiting, so I put myself in the closet. I'm not in the bathroom. It might look like it since I have a shower curtain type thing behind me. Oh, and human family. Wow, look at this. So much family stuff. You're really focused on family right now. Okay. You're starting to feel a way. And you still feel other ways about other things. There's like, you have an organized method, and you like structure, and you like to know where you're going and what's going to happen when you do it. That's the method that you've been using. It makes sense. You like things to make sense. You're not afraid to be in a cycle where you know what to expect when you do this, like cause and effect. This is definitely something that's affecting your career. Your career might be a focus, and you might have a career that's centered around family. You're paying attention to the details, and you are definitely overcoming. Like everything that I've talked about here is probably stuff you've already been realizing. You've been realizing that there's a different approach that needs to be taken in order to achieve what you came to achieve in this particular instance. And it's going to affect both your career and how people see you. You are looking at how people see you because that is important to this. Interesting. You know, maybe because of not achieving what you hoped to achieve by doing what you were doing, maybe you're looking at what that looks like to other people. And maybe that's offering you clues as to what it is. When you look at these details of like, you know, when you did this, how did this affect that person, right? If you're looking to implement the win-win-win, then you might be looking at things like that. Like, did someone get victimized out of this situation? Was there, like, here's an example that comes to mind. You know how I think there's a television show, I think it's television, it could be an internet show, but called Storage Wars. Storage Wars is about people who bid on storage units to buy them. Now, if you look at this, you know, I understand that people are going to make money off whatever they find in this storage unit that they buy. But in order for someone to have made money off that storage unit that they bought, someone else had to lose out. The person who owned that storage unit originally, who couldn't pay, who maybe lost their job, who got behind. So someone lost out in order for that storage war person to make money off of their belongings. You see? That's not the win-win-win. That's not a win-win-win way of doing business. Okay? Now, if storage war person decided they were going to do it in a more fair manner, like going to the people advertising maybe, hey, if you're behind on your storage unit price, do you want to sell me some things at a reduced rate and it'll help you make some money to pay your storage fee? Or do you want me to buy your storage unit out from under you and take all your stuff? You know, just to create more of a win-win-win. Do you see? Now, even the storage unit place would get their money, so they're still winning, you know? Everybody wins in this situation. So that's just an example of creating the win-win-win, and I feel like you're looking at places where someone might not have won in what was doing, and you're looking at how you can heal that, you know, when you're realizing the truth of the whole situation. And then you're writing a new story. You're writing a new way to do it, right? And you're looking at anywhere there was like a hidden place someone was losing out. And you're balancing the scales. You're making it much more fair. That's where you are now. Something wasn't fair in the past. Through not being successful in it, you realized it. Now you're healing that. Now you're creating balance. Now you're looking to make sure no one's being victimized. You're doing this by looking at the details. This is going to affect what you do as a career and how you're seen as a person and how you see yourself and how you want to be seen. Oh, this is so beautiful. Now, family comes into this in some way. we got the card, you decided to wake up, or else why did you draw me? So something was planned, for this time in your life. We've got a 10 here, so it's an end of a cycle. You've ended this cycle of how it used to be. So you're stepping into this new cycle. In this new cycle, family is so important. Family is part of this. We got love is your energy. That's one of the advice cards. You have a well of information, and it's coming through your urge, coming through spirit. What it is you wanted to do is a valid thing to do. You were stuck on it only because there was a different way to use your energy. And you have more allies. Your allies are your family. Your allies are your knowledge about taking into consideration the win-win-win for everybody. Your compassion. The compassionate part of you is an ally. Okay, so you're rallying up the allies that you have in order to make sure that nobody loses out, especially the people who are not aware yet, who are not thinking like you're thinking yet. People who are still doing it the other way, they're going to see you. That's an important part of this. They're going to see you do this. They're going to be inspired by it. They're going to know there's an option to do it. Some of them may not like that, but a lot of them are going to realize that there's a better way to do it, because maybe they weren't set up to fail yet, and they're still doing it that way. And then they get to make the steps to do it a better way, where everyone is winning, because they saw the example of you doing it, because you were the one who was strong enough to keep going even in the face of failure. Your advice card came as the Badger, perseverance. I love the Badger. It says, dig in and see it through to completion. So this is how we know what you were doing wasn't wrong. It was just the angle that you were coming at from. Family is an important part of it, and creating the win-win-win, and making sure things are balanced and that there's nobody's a victim. Yep, you were just operating as, they say the caterpillar comes before the butterfly. You were just doing it the older way, and now you're upgrading your life. You're evolving to a higher plane where you can implement compassion in what you're doing. Business is no longer needing to be cutthroat in order to succeed. In fact, it's quite the opposite now. Tables have turned. This is when you decided to wake up because this is what you wanted to do. Love is your energy. And this is an advice card. So to remember this is an important part of it. That when you're feeling stuck, it's like, what can you love? What can you love in yourself? What are you going to apply your force to? How can you add love to this situation to be making sure there's a win-win-win? Everybody wins. You are a well of power and, force and perseverance, and you do have allies, you do have love, you do have family, and you may need to depend on your family, your soul family and your human family, for a time while you transition through this, and they may have something to offer you that you hadn't considered yet in making things fair and healing things, and maybe in the cases where they're doing what you used to do and they don't want to change, you need to maybe, make room for them to be that and still go on and do what you know is right now. Because this was your lesson, and like I said, other people may still be doing it the old way, but that doesn't mean that you can. You know that it's not working for you, so there's a reason for that. Okay, you're here to inspire others by taking the steps because you're the one who's strong enough to take them. And they're strong enough to take them in other ways for other things. It's just like, this is the thing you're doing. The win-win-win involves us all taking the steps towards what we are driven to. And this is what you're driven to. And you weren't wrong on being driven to that. It was just that there's a more compassionate, loving way to go about whatever it is that you're doing. which will be different for each of you. So thank you for doing what you're doing. Remember that this is a reading that is just meant to help you reflect. So only take what is true for you. Only take what is relevant and helpful to you. If it isn't helpful to you, if it isn't relevant to you, don't take it. It is dependent on you and how you feel about it. So just take it as a reflection, some information to consider in your journey. And I hope you find it helpful. If you do, maybe we'll see you in a future reading. Okay? I'm going to end this reading now, and I'm going to move on to pick number 4. Pick number 4, if you chose grandmother, this is your reading. Okay, I'm actually going to pause and take a little sip of water. Okay, so first let's look at where have you come from? What's the energy of the past? Maybe you've been single for a while, or in your one-on-one relationships, there's some sort of like privacy or keeping to yourself, but overall you've had a lot of love to give. Keeping up with your family's traditions, really like steadfast in kind of just grandmother energy, right? Grandmother energy is solid, steadfast, knowing, wise, loving, established. So you may have like these ways that you've been really, forgive the word, stuck in, right? And focused in this certain way of only doing it this way. And it seems like that way has worked for you as far as like being a loving presence in the lives of people around you. However, financially it may have been not as helpful for you. Something here. I'm going to keep going and see what else so I can put it in context. Yeah. All right. So, grandmother. You may feel like there's been one way to do it, and so you've been doing it that way. And you may not have realized that you actually have the power to change some things. And that if you look, you can kind of see what's going to happen in the future if you do change these certain things. You are very wise. You are very steadfast and able to keep up with a certain way of doing something. What is this Two of Cups? I want to... Let me see where you are now. Earth Angel, learning, medicine. Okay, so for as loving and caring and abundant as you are, I think there are ways that you can see the opposite, maybe in people around you, or maybe in the person that you're partnered with. Some sort of duality. You're getting to see some sort of duality, some place where something certain isn't working anymore. It could have to do with medicine, medicating, and how medicine is used. You have more power than you realize. Where you are now, maybe starting to utilize your power. Maybe trying to come together with somebody. indulging in friendships, like using your energy towards friendships, and I feel like you know that there's something that you're going to do different, that you've kind of seen it and you kind of know like you're destined to do it different. And I think you know that either you're skeptical or there are people around you that are skeptical about it. Maybe you've put a lot of time into someone or something, like a situation that you thought would be more fruitful than it is, that you thought you would get back, but then that situation, like say you were in a relationship with grandpa for a long time and then you and grandpa didn't see eye to eye and grandpa did it a different way, and everything you built, he just took off and you didn't get back what you put into grandpa in that situation. You know, it doesn't have to be with a person, it could be with a business, it could be with, it does seem like it could have been a relationship though. But, and so that might be something that you're gonna think about doing differently from now on, which is like expecting back what you put in. Like, instead of doing that, you can just be giving yourself joy, doing the things for yourself, right? Learning to do for yourself what you thought you needed from someone else. Devoting your time and energy to yourself and to being in joy, because that is what gives back to the world. That is what helps and inspires, and that's beneficial for everybody. Your time in joy, your time as a good friend, your time enjoying life. I think that you know that there's some things that you don't know, like there's mysteries here, but you're feeling very free. You may have been looking for answers in places where there was somebody who just wasn't playing fair, who's kind of a negative Nelly, right? Like, there's someone who was playing tricks on you, someone who maybe even offered their love but then took it away, or something like that, where you had invested in something and it didn't pan out the way you wanted. It didn't pan out the way you expected. And what you went through there was important because you were cleared something, you understood something, and you knew then that it was more beneficial to put your energy into yourself, into your being free, into your friendships, and into benefiting the world with your own happiness and your own presence. And just, I think you started telling a new story. Like, you took your power back. What you were expecting to get from outside of yourself within a relationship, you now give to yourself, and this shifts things for you. This shifts things for you in a way that you are able to see if you think about it, if you look, if you feel, with all your wisdom gained. Your advice cards say, don't relinquish your power. It's saying, like, you can do this. You can do this. Focus on you. Give to you. Be in your joy. Tell the story that you want to live. Devote yourself to that. And create the life that you want to live. Using what you've learned. You are an earth angel. You are here to spread your joy, your wisdom, your love. And you have wise, ancient wise energy. So use it to follow your passion. And we also got, you are able to see what is in store for the future, as the other advice card. So look to the future, know that you can create into this mystery that exists, that you've let go of what doesn't work for you, given what you learned about it through the experience that you had. That imbalance of not pouring into yourself directly, but pouring into a relationship that was meant to give to you, that is what kept you financially either dependent or unstable. So this, I think, new way of taking back your power into yourself and giving yourself the joyful experience through life, because you are very abundant in a lot of ways. You have a lot of love to give and a lot of opportunities. to experience love in your life through friendships, that this will be much more fulfilling, and this will balance out anything that was out of balance with finances. It's going to open up a lot of opportunities for you to be more free, more abundant, more giving. But it is really like, it's like take what you know and make something new. It really is like that, because you got create, and you also got your words create worlds. So you don't have to tell that old story anymore. And that old story may have talked about being with somebody else to build, or expecting to get something back out of something you invested in for a long time. Okay, and these cards don't say anything about, you know, the scales being balanced in any other way besides you taking the lesson of what you learned and creating something new. And so the benefit that you get from the investment that you made is that you learned something. Okay? You learned about duality. You learned about what it takes to build something. And this is more wisdom for under your belt, right? It's more love that you're free to experience now, because you're not limiting yourself to get it from one person. You're going to open yourself up to get it from many places. To give and receive love much more freely, much more big. You have a lot of love to give and to receive. And your greatest joy pollinates the world. So that's what this process has been for you. The message, I believe, is that it's not all dependent on you and another person. Whether this person was someone that you hoped to be with, or someone that was really there, or someone that is still there. Even if you're in a happy relationship that's functioning well and that you don't plan on leaving, the message is still that that's not where you get filled up. Take your power back, put it into following your passion. Look to the future on what you can create, and use your power to do that, to go forward and to create that, to continue learning, to continue being, continue doing, and continue creating, because that's what you came here on earth to do, and you're well equipped to do it. Like, you have all this wisdom that you've gained through being in one perspective, learning what there was to learn from that perspective, and now able to move through that perspective to see a different way to do things that allows you to be more free and allows you to be more sovereign, right? Because grandmother energy would have been here a while here on earth, and that means that the way you were doing it is the way that it was done on earth. And now on earth, like we talked about in the intro, it's very important for us to be sovereign, to be self-driven and self-fulfilled, and to give from our overflowing cup. And you do have a lot of love that you can let overflow and allow yourself to receive too, and this will all be driven by creating something new with your passion. So it's really talking about just not limiting yourself to one relationship, that you can create much, much more. Okay? Okay. Now remember, this is just a reading meant to give you information to reflect on, so only take what's true for you. If only parts of those things, if only one sentence is true for you, then only take that one sentence, right? So only take it if it's helpful, only take it if it's true for you, and only take it as a reflection, something to consider in your movement forward. So I hope that you find it helpful. It was very interesting for me. I love that you're free to create passionately, that you're so full of love, that you are contributing to the beauty on earth by just being you, being present, and being who you are. So thank you for being here, and perhaps we'll see you in a future reading.